moments past noon, Texas, on the 11th day of February, our 38th episode of Grit and Good News. We are deep here in the heart of the Lone Star State, and we're broadcasting live from our palatial studios on the second floor across the street from the Waxahachie Sun in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. As usual, we got Sam working the board and keeping us under control. I'm your co-host, Jeffrey Michael Lynch, and it gives me great pride, pleasure, and honor to introduce my friend, your pal, our host, Scott Brooks.
Thank you, brother. Before we get to our great content today, I want to welcome you. Thank you for being here. We're on live every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1. We are now very active on TikTok. So for those of you that use TikTok, if you're like me, that's really the only one I use. If you search Grit in Good News, Grit, the
And
letter in
like
Good News.
TNT.
Yes, you will find us there. And we've gotten, man, lots of followers already and plenty of comments. I would say that yours truly is probably not the star of for those on the left particularly. But anyway, it is what it is. But at some point, we will be going live on TikTok. Yes.
And I believe that, I always say hello world because
Yeah.
from the beginning, we wanted this to keep growing. I would say our little friendly bubble of Waxahachie,
Yeah.
which isn't always
Yeah.
friendly to you either,
No.
is certainly a more conservative group of people
Yeah.
than the overall cruel world. So we're out there, and you know what?
That's
Take
right.
your shots.
Yeah.
We're
I
just
mean,
we're just
I
you know what? We're
don't.
here for
Well, I
fun.
don't mind. We don't mind. And I would just say, there are thousands upon thousands, as you all know, there are thousands of podcasts out there. We're a podcast. We want to bring the world to our community. So we talk about both national things and local things, but we want to be different. And that is that we're not here to argue with people. We want to listen to what people have to say, even if it's not so nice. And we want to be able to have a healthy discussion about any given topic. So that's what we do. And we love it. And I think you probably spot that from just how we interact and how we do the show, that it's not something we prep for it, but we don't have to practice on end.
No,
We just do
no.
it and we love it. And
Yeah. We're gonna memorize 60 minutes of
yeah,
chatter,
right.
right?
Well, so we don't use any teleprompter and all that silly stuff. We just talk. And, most podcasts are like that. But we want to be better and different and better, so that we won't waste any of your time. That said, you can see my man here is decked out. He is
May I stand up because you
yeah,
really can't
stand
see
up.
what I got
Yeah,
going on
stand
here.
up.
If I don't.
Let Jeff model his look at that.
Oh my God. Ooh,
Well, we didn't
Canada,
say you could stand up
our
and sing.
home and
Turn around.
native land. True
Sid the
patriot
kid.
love in all thy
All right.
sons
We said
coming.
stand up. We didn't say sing.
Yeah,
But Jeff
you
wanted
you
to
know
tell
I do know
you
that anthem
you
start
know
to
what?
finish. And whenever there's a Canadian team at Reunion or American Airlines Center now, um, Hockey Jeff and I boy, we
Your
got our
friend
seats
Jeff?
together
Yeah.
in 2005, and I finally gave him up when I came to Waxahachie. But I would bellow that from 328 row P. That is up there, kids.
It's a great anthem.
It
It
is
really
it's a
is.
great anthem.
Yeah.
It's a great country.
But before
Matter of
you go,
fact, no,
oh, you brought what
I
is all
have
the
I
can?
have to
Don't
have
splash that on me.
I have to have I
What's
have
with
to
all
have
the
a
Canada stuff?
little Canada drive. Why all the Canada stuff?
Who are you pulling for in this Four Nations tournament?
Whoever's behind.
Whoever's what? Behind?
Whoever's behind.
Oh,
Because guess what? I love all four teams. The four
and so
teams.
so we're going to take just a minute or two that for those non-hockey fans, this is in my opinion, all these sports except for baseball maybe, but all these other sports ought to just scrap their all-star games and do what hockey's done, which
This
is
is
this
beyond
tournament.
huge what they're doing.
Yeah, so tell us about it.
Okay, it's the Four Nations tournament, and it starts out in Montreal, where Marc-Andre Fleury last night had his shutout in his final game, and all the Canadians came to shake his hands, and he'll be in the tournament, and it's the United States, Canada, Finland, and Sweden.
Yeah.
The format is Sam. You gonna put up the schedule? Format is a round robin where each team will play all three teams.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the best record, two of them will face off in the finals. And the way they do it is a little bit different. You're going to get awarded 3 points for an outright win in regulation, 2 points to win in overtime or shootout, and 1 point to lose in overtime or shootout.
And
Eh,
then the ones with the most points end up
Yeah,
battling
yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah. The two best records will go for the final. Uh, your Dallas Stars have 4 players in. They were going to have five. Miro Heiskanen had a bad injury and an operation, and he's out. But Esa Lindell will play for Finland. We've got a new guy that we got in a trade less than 2 weeks ago by the name of Granlund, who's going to be playing for Sweden. We're going to have Jake the Otter Ottinger
The
in
goalie.
nets,
And for America?
and for America, we're going to have well, I forgot Rupen Hintz to be playing for Finland too.
Yeah.
And who did I forget? Oh, well,
You forgot the Canadian.
Ottinger's our American player.
Who's our Canadian? Is there a Canadian player
There
for
is a
the Stars?
Canadian player, and it's I think Duchesne. And oh, so each team's going to carry 3 goalies. So I don't know if all three will play. Ottinger's probably number two. Um, but you should see his mask. His nickname is Otter, and he's got a custom made mask, and it's got a picture of an otter face on the Statue of Liberty. It's
Oh,
g- it's
really?
it's just
That's pretty
gorgeous.
cool. Yeah. So
It's just
Four
gorgeous.
Nations is in place of the tournament. I mean, the All Star game, which is
Yeah,
usually the All Star game is one day, obviously, one game surrounded by,
activities,
yeah,
and
and
actually it had gotten better than ever last 2 years because they divided it up by divisions, and it was
like a tournament, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was all 3-on-3, just like we have in overtime. And 3-on-2, 3 is so exciting because you got so much open ice, and it really opens things up
Well,
offensively.
but so like baseball takes from Monday break, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then come back after the All Star break on a Thursday. Hockey was pretty much the same kind of thing, a 2 or 3 day
Yeah,
break.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This one though is a 8 day break.
Yeah,
So for those of you that like hockey, even if you don't like hockey, which hockey can be hard to watch if you're not familiar with it on TV,
yeah,
but either in the playoffs or the Olympics, which this is more like the Olympics than
yeah,
anything, it's great hockey and great. Hey Sonia, sweetheart, it's great atmosphere. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
And we open tonight. You still have
Tomorrow
it up
night,
there? Tomorrow night. Um, Canada and Sweden.
yes,
Okay. Tomorrow,
at
U.S. and
Thursday,
I mean Thursday.
yeah,
Yeah,
at 7,
7.
yeah.
These games are at 7 our time. Um,
Saturday night is the big
Saturday we
one,
got an afternoon game and an evening
and the
game.
evening game is USA Canada.
Yeah, and
Ooh,
Monday we got an afternoon game and an evening game. Then Tuesday off,
yeah.
and then Thursday on that final.
So
Yeah. So and they switched from Montreal to Boston for those last three
yeah, it's
days.
going to be a really great
Oh, it's gonna
sports
rock.
event, and that's why Jeff's got all decked out. Maybe on Thursday you can wear your. Is your plan to wear your other one?
Well, yeah,
Oh no,
I'll have
wait,
a
you
little
didn't. You had.
USA on.
Did you get it back yet?
No,
No.
I'm gonna be
You
wearing my too tight version of the Austin Matthews. It's a jersey violation. I've got a plain one
are you
coming.
keeping it?
I got the plain one coming, and when the plain
Oh,
one comes, I'll
yeah. There you go.
return the
We
custom
won't
one.
tell anybody. So there you go. Four Nations starts tomorrow night. Be sure to watch it. I think it's probably on what ESPN, maybe.
No, it's a variety.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Some of it's network, some of it's
Yeah.
TNT, ESPN. They're spreading it all around.
All right, very good. So we do love hockey here at Grit and Good News, particularly playoff hockey, but Jeff likes it all year round. Um, be sure to like us and follow us on TikTok. We want to grow that base as high as we can. It's not too tight, Rita says. Uh, uh,
You're
Jeff and
sweet.
Rita threw a great party, Super Bowl party the other night on Sunday. We had a great time. Rita, thank you so much. It was really a lot of fun. And now that I've met a few people, when you do it again, I'll know who's who.
Yeah, and
I'll know about Bill.
yeah,
But I also Jeff maybe hockey Jeff is Jeff has a buddy named Jeff, so they calls hockey the other one hockey Jeff. So hockey Jeff came up and said he watches the show. If you're watching today, Jeff, hockey Jeff, thank you for watching. So that all said, the Super Bowl. So
yesterday's news.
two of us in this room actually picked the winning team, did we not, Sammy? And who would that be? The two of us.
Me and you.
That's right.
Did you
And
Equals.
have
who
any?
did we
You have
pick?
any money on it?
No,
No,
no. But
you wouldn't have needed
I mean,
much for.
I was in so many different I had so many different numbers to keep track of, and I came up as 0 on pools and boards and all that stuff.
How about that 48 and a half over and under just getting slaughtered?
And you and I were talking this ain't gonna be close to 48, and it
It,
ended up
way over six.
62.
Yeah,
No,
three, I think.
no. What was the final score? 40 to
40-22.
40, yeah, 62.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a lot of fun. Rita, thank you for hosting that and doing all that. But the Super Bowl, we wanted to talk about the Super Bowl and not only just the game, but the dynamics surrounding the game. So let us have it. What do you think of the game?
Of the game, when you got 26 people there, you spend a lot of time working the crowd and making people happy. I did not see as much of the game as I would have liked, uh, thankfully. But I mean, I could tell this. Philly took it to them early and often, and then they never let the foot off the gas. And so I looked up somewhere in the second half, and I said, I better look up and see what's the largest margin of victory ever, because I think when I was looking
That
at
had
it,
to be
it was
a Denver
it
game.
was it was it
Yeah,
was Denver losing by 45
to either the 49ers or the
to the
Raiders.
it was the 49ers.
Yeah.
Um, but and thankfully I was so busy taking good care of my peeps that I didn't see any of the halftime. But as soon as I got up in the morning, I looked at my phone and they were just all over that halftime. But even more so, they were all over the Black National Anthem.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of it, and I'll tell you why I'm not a big fan of it. Number one,
Of the song or of them doing it?
well, the both.
Yeah.
The regular U.S. national anthem, it if you race through it, you can do it in a minute and five.
Hmm.
If you fluff it up like people do, and I hate it when they fluff it up,
Yeah.
it can go almost 2 minutes. Normally, it's 140.
Yeah.
The Black National Anthem is 3 minutes and 19 seconds, and we don't need an extra 3 minutes and 19 on top of the regular anthem. But that's not the main thing. This reminds me, and it's what I was reading on social media, where people are saying this is perpetrating racism. And it's exactly what happened. We talked about it 2 weeks ago when they said we're no longer flying two flags underneath the US flags
Hmm.
because they're divisive and we can't have a flag for every single group in the world anymore. Then we need a Hispanic or an Asian or a we don't need anybody else's anthem
Yeah.
but the mighty U.S. anthem. That's all
Yeah.
we need.
I mean, I think, and hey, Jimmy, Sammy's listening to see what needs to be done, but let me know if it's better. Uh, Sammy's working on it now. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the NFL, obviously, to me at least, it's
Pandering.
obvious that too. And now that they've kind of had their run of woke stuff since 2020, I believe the NFL is going to do like others and start cutting back on that stuff. Matter of fact, I think it announced that it wasn't going to have end racism on their in the end zone or wherever they normally put it. Which saying end racism, all these little
Talks
platitudes and
cheap.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, let's get real with this and stop it. But the game, yes. Is it mine not working? Mine's not working? Okay, folks. Sorry, my mic is not working. Can you hear me now, Jimmy? Um, to be sure. So, but yeah, I think the game was a butt whooping. I mean, at halftime it
Yeah,
was. I don't know what the score at halftime was, but 34 or 24 to nothing. I mean, I don't think the Chiefs have been shut out in a halftime
20. It
in
was 24. Yeah,
24 to nothing, and then gave up 40 points, so that's another 16 points in the second quarter. So I don't know, what the Chiefs where they were. I don't know if somebody forgot to tell them there was a Super Bowl on Sunday, but it was a butt whooping. And as somebody that I'm telling you, I've said it before, but of all the teams, of all the sports, from Pee Wee football to the NFL, across every possible, could be the hammer throw. No team do I hate worse or more than I hate the Chiefs. And I'm not a hater, but I hate the Chiefs. And you know why? Because they forgot who they were. They just play the game and be studs. You know the thing about Michael Jordan as a GOAT? And I'd say Tiger Woods is the same way. They don't go around acting like a fool. And so Travis Kelsey, all this wearing that stupid robe when they won the playoff game and dancing around like they just got set free. I don't, anyway. So, but my I thought that the halftime show I didn't watch. Sammy, you didn't watch it either, did you? Have you seen any replays of it? Yeah. So I don't even know
Was there a
who
lot of crotch grabbing?
Kendrick Lamar. Is that his
Okay.
name, Kendrick Lamar? I don't even know what he's saying, but I heard it was awful. And here's the other thing: why don't why doesn't the NFL just have George Strait? When was the last time we saw a country artist at the Super Bowl? But why don't we have George Strait? Why don't we have Garth Brooks? Why don't we have
Because
Lainey
those
Wilson?
people don't lead to the spectaculars that they have with hundreds of costume dancers
Yeah,
and
but
doo-wop
I
singers
mean,
and
if George Strait can put 110,000 people in Kyle Field and College Station, he can. I mean,
oh
he's
he'll go yeah.
yeah. So I'm Lainey Wilson puts on all that stuff, and so I hope the NFL will wise up one of these days. I do want to tell you that, and this will be good for my friends like Jimmy Porch and others. But here's a bit of history for you when it comes to the Super Bowl and players in it. Devontae Smith, number 6 for the Philadelphia Eagles, who was also number 6 for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He was the 5th player in NFL history, is the 5th player in NFL history to have won the Heisman Trophy, the national championship in college football, and the Super Bowl. The 5th player. Sammy doesn't have a clue about who the other 4 would be, but the other 4, you ready for this? Oh, why don't we have Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses? Yeah, that's a good idea. Uh,
Headbangers.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure about Motley Crue, but I'd take Guns N' Roses. But the Devontae
Honey.
Smith joins Marcus Allen. Who'd he play for? Who'd he play for?
Raiders.
Raiders.
Thank you.
Tony Dorsett. Who'd he play for?
Silver and blue.
Cowboys. Reggie Bush. Who'd he play for?
Niners.
Saints and
Saints.
Niners.
Thank you.
And Charles Woodson. Who'd he play for?
Everybody.
Yes, Packers and the Raiders. What I remember the most. Those are the other 4 teams to win all 3. So Devontae
And he
Smith.
just got the word that he wasn't going to get into
Who?
the uh,
Woodson.
Woodson into the
Oh, really?
Hall of Fame.
I thought he was already in. You need to check your facts. Sammy, see if Charles Woodson's already in the Hall of Fame. I thought he
Who
was.
was, or was it a Cowboys defensive
I don't
back?
remember, but I know somebody was complaining about it. But Devontae Smith, there you go, Alabama guy. You know how many Bama players we had in the Super Bowl game on Sunday?
I don't know, sir.
5.
Five.
And I think they all played for Philly. That's why we won. Yeah. So you're thinking of
Okay.
somebody else, Jeff. Anyway, here's the
All
non-football stuff that I appreciated and kind of didn't well appreciated on various levels for various reasons. But Trump's presence there, first time
Didn't
in
get to
Super
see
Bowl
that
history.
either.
Can you believe that a sitting
Yep.
president
That is
appear?
surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And the if you remember the iconic picture of him saluting while
Mm-hmm.
the the national anthem was being played. Sammy, did we lose something? We lost something somewhere. So that I loved. I love the fact that New Orleans had just a month earlier dealt with one of the worst terrorist attacks in our country since what
Yeah,
nine
and I
eleven.
did not hear of any trouble.
No
And
trouble,
but
and
boy, you know that was a liquored Philly crowd the
oh
night
yeah,
before and after.
yeah.
Oh,
Witness Philly the next morning or all through the night. But I really New Orleans has some. We need to appreciate what they did to keep that thing safe. And then Taylor Swift, bless her sweet little heart, got booed. So it would have been a year ago if somebody had said, "Hey, Trump and Taylor Swift are going to be the Super Bowl. One of them's going to get booed. One of them's going to be cheered." What would you have said? Swift would be cheered, and Trump. It's the opposite. The world
interesting.
is flipping, and so Taylor Swift. They show the video of her, and she's saying, "Oh, what is going on?" Something like that. What's going on is that we've got enough of you, little diva. So long. Anyway, great Super Bowl, and we'll see what happens next year. It's time for my Bills to be in the Super Bowl and my Cowboys. That would be a great Super Bowl. Cowboys Bills. You know. But here's the other thing. We're not talking football for very much longer, but
Didn't we have one of those?
we'd had two. uh, and the
of that
Bills
matchup?
lost both.
Yeah, okay.
But there's talk now of the Cowboys thinking about trading Micah. Can you imagine? So we just got
If
rid
you
of
can get
Luca.
a Herschel Walker trade out of it and get a bundle
Well,
of them.
yeah, we got rid of Luca, and now we got Anthony Davis. I
Hey, who
think
won that game last night? I did
they
not check.
did, and he had 14 points in 24 minutes. But I'm one of the few that thinks the Mavericks are going to be better. But now Anthony Davis is
I
out a
know.
month. He got
And
hurt. Nobody even touched him. He got hurt the other night. He's out a month.
yeah, and who's the other big? Is it
Mac,
Grafford?
and that's
Yeah, Gafford. He hurt
did
his
he
knee last
really?
night early. Yeah.
Man. But anyway, I think the Mavericks will be better. But if we're talking about getting rid of, we did move Luca. If we talk about moving Micah, oh my goodness, man, this community can't. That's going to need some
How about Dak
therapy.
too? How about Dak too?
Dak's not going anywhere at 60 million a year. All right, so that's what we think about football. Anything else you want to add to that, Mr. Hockey Man?
The only other thing back to the football part of it was it possibly put to rest the idea that the refs have favored Kansas City all the time. And I heard a lot of people complained about that one down the right hand sidelines earlier, but obviously that was a definite pass interference
No, it
call, and
was
it was in
not.
the guy's grill.
He didn't. He breathed on him, and they
You
call.
know
He
what?
didn't even.
If they didn't call pass interference, they could have called
He did
face
this.
mask.
He did. He didn't even grab his
It
face
wasn't a
mask.
drive
He
by.
hit
No,
it.
no,
It was a drive-by. That's a good. That's a
there was
drive-by
grippage.
call.
There was
It, we
grippage.
thought. I thought it was starting like, here we go again. But
Yeah.
then Philly said, not on our watch. Anyway,
There you go.
so Jeff and I want to talk to you about. We have a question. Why? And some of you watching will likely have the same question. I have often argued that the most important boards and councils and commissions and blah 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 that we ever have in our lives that impact our lives are those at the ultra local level. That is, city council, school board, county commissioners, and then the lesser
Hmm.
other board. These boards impact us directly.
Hmm.
Our city council, which is made up of 5 in Waxahachie, is uh, they are voted in. Obviously, they are not paid anything. They get a stipend or a per diem for certain things, but they don't get any money. And so uh, our last, I'd say, go back 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, that council was together for quite a long time. There was not much change, and could have been a decade. I haven't looked at the numbers, but could have been a decade. But that we had the same city council, which is okay. I mean, 10 years of a council is, it's well within the term limits argument I've been making. But since then, we have had a council that has changed. There have been some people that have changed. So when you have a council of 5, as far as I'm concerned, we want competition. We want people to run for office so as to have competition for the seat, so as to have more people involved, so as to have more people integrated and engaged, but we don't have them. We looked this morning before the show started. City council election is in May this year. The filing date to be eligible for that election is on February the 14th, which is this Friday. And there are only,
Valentine's Day. Let's not forget that.
that's right. And then, but right now, only 2 people have filed. You know who they are? The 2
The incumbents,
incumbents,
yeah.
Billy Wallace and Travis Smith. Which that's cool. I mean, I'm glad they are running and want to remain in office. But we don't have anybody else. Next year we'll have 3 people run, and I think last year when we had those same 3 seats run, we had one person run that wasn't an incumbent. But right now we don't have anybody from the community that's running for city council. Last school board election, we did have a nice group of people running for various seats.
How would you like to be on the school board in Keller, Texas right now?
What's going on in Keller? I'm sure
Do
I've
you not watch the? You know what? You're so good on your national. It's on the local news almost
I'm
every night.
sure
They're
I've
they're
seen
they're
it.
trying to divide that district in two between, um, so just like Waxahachie, like many places, the Waxahachie School District goes way beyond the boundaries of Waxahachie.
Yes.
Up in up that way, um, all the new development up by 35 and Alliance Airport from
Mhm.
35 up to um, 377, probably a 3 or 4 mile stretch.
Hmm.
Tons of new homes, new schools, hikes of all levels
Yeah.
that are part of the Keller School District. And now there's been a huge effort, and a lot of it was nefarious, and it was quiet and huddling
Hmm.
away from the public meetings and stuff, to divide it into two districts.
Oh, wow.
All the new stuff to the left, to the west, is the poorer part.
Oh,
Yeah, I say poorer with air quotes. It's
yeah.
not poor, but it's not as affluent as the established part.
Hmm.
And there is huge controversy. It has been all over the news over there. Uh,
Wow. I'll have to check
and
into it.
and then the superintendent has stepped down
Wow.
because she didn't agree with it and
Yeah.
she didn't want any part of
So is
it.
this driven by the school board? I
It's
mean, is that
just
what's going?
driven by that group of the school board,
Yeah.
and but they're saying his finances driving the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, if you create a new school board, you have to have
You have to have
second set of
a school district have done this.
administrations
Yeah.
and all that. But
Well,
um,
that's an example of how school boards, making my point, how school boards are so impactful. And we have
right,
a school board here that we do have some new members from last year, as I was mentioning, but we don't have a plethora of people who are lining up to run for these offices. And I understand is the argument you have relied upon and make, which is valid, is that they're volunteer, they're time consuming. If you're a good one, if you care, they're
no
time
pay,
consuming, no
tons of
pay.
work, and a ton of criticism. Who wants that?
Well, I guess it's
Your devotion to humanity must be tremendous to do that.
yeah. I mean, they are at base levels. They are all to be commended for wanting to serve in a capacity that is only going to add stress to their life. However, as committed as they are, they can make our community better, which I'll argue is one of the purposes in our life is to make those around us and the places around us and our cities better. So,
Does it give you any glory?
well,
I don't think so.
it depends
Does
on
it
how
give you
you
any respect? Mm, a
depends on how
skosh,
you conduct
a
yourself.
smidgen.
But it does, and that's the point is that people that run and sit in these offices don't run for the glory of it all because there is none. And so they are there to make a difference, and they do make a difference. Sometimes I've had issues with council members and school board members. Some of those have been rather apparent and rather volatile, but that's just the way that it is. I don't really have any issues as we speak now. As a newspaper, our job is to uncover anything that might be amiss. But the issue here is that we have two seats that are open and we don't have anybody as of right now, anybody running for either of those two seats. Now they have until Friday to declare or to file, so we'll see. But here's what how the questions are: how do we get more people to run? And there have been several names that have popped up this year to run for these offices or these seats, but they end up not doing it. It takes some guts to do it. One, you got the risk of losing, which is never pleasant,
Right.
in a community that knows you. Uh, by and large.
Yeah, I
And
forgot all about the trouble of getting elected.
yeah, I mean,
To add
and the
that to the
money, you
list,
got to
yeah,
spend money.
yeah.
And so, but that's an issue. The money, the time commitment to run for office. I mean, these people are out and about through their campaigns everywhere all the time. Uh, what
So if this is a recruiting job,
I'm not doing a very
I'm
good job.
and I'm doing a miserable job,
Well, we're telling
you
the
know.
truth of it, but
But right,
the value in it is that you can make a difference. And again, it's for people who want to make a difference. If the purpose of your life is to make a difference, there are a lot of ways to do that. You don't have to run for office to do it, but one way to do it is to sit on city council or the school
and
board
you
or
know
any
what?
other board.
I did forget this. If you do aspire to politics at a heavier level, these are the skins that you
Yeah,
have to get your name established and to make somebody even want you to be like a state
yeah.
legislator, right?
Yeah, you need that experience for
Yeah.
sure, which
So
is why I have some of the issues with, say, a Brian Harrison, who is our state representative. I just, I don't want to get into that, but
so
I have some issues. But anyway, so a sales job, this isn't. This
right.
is a reality of what's happening here. And so the question then becomes, as I'll close out the segment, is do we need a system that rewards council members insofar as paying them something? Do we need to have a system where we elect our mayor by the public and pay the mayor? Right now, the I mentioned Brian Harrison when John Ray was in that seat, Jake Elsie was in that seat, same thing. But those guys earn annually, they earn I'll round it off to $7,500 a year. Now they get per diems when they're in office. I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
they're in session like they are now, but they're making $7,500 a year. So you either got to be independently wealthy, have a spouse that's carrying the load, or retired and have the ability to do it to be in session every other year for 6 months. So it's the system is not conducive to having quality people. Well, I shouldn't say that. Having people of any type running for these offices, and I think we need to be mindful of that and see if we can't come up with a better way to get some quality people to sit in these seats and run for office and make a difference. I know a lot of people want to make a difference.
Right.
So anyway, that's that. Uh, that's that. So, all right, random thoughts for today, Mr. Jeff.
Random thoughts for today. This one came up the other day. We were getting ready for the big party, and we were dragging our big crate for Layla out to the back porch to
And
make
Layla's your dog.
our
Yes.
dog,
Yeah.
our wonderful.
Or your new yeah, people. If we wouldn't have clarified that, people could have think you had a new baby or something.
No, and it's
You and
tight,
Rita with
and
a
we're
baby.
we're we're getting it through the door, and we've got it almost finished. And I said something. I always say when you're doing something as a couple cooperatively working on something that could possibly be contentious or
Yeah.
or cause any kind of a rift. And I said, and yet we're still married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Number two, this one's by my late great dad, king of great expressions, and he used to say, "Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die to get there." True
It's
that.
a Kenny Chesney song.
Is
That
it?
no, everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to go today. I think is his song, something like that.
We were sitting around drinking coffee and reading the newspaper as we do every morning, and Layla is just all nuzzled up against Rita's leg. She likes to get as much body to body contact as possible
Yeah.
while she's getting stroked up by Rita.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, the dog, formerly known as man's best friend, is now known as a person's best friend.
That's right, for
Yeah.
sure.
And then I was doing a little project around the house, and it reminded me of one of my favorite little expressions that a carpenter is no better than his tools. If you don't have the right tools, you'll never get any job done,
Yeah.
right? And then the last one came up after the Super Bowl, and everybody, not everybody, Vegas only had the Chiefs at a 1.5 point favorite, but they had them as a favorite, and they were a wide favorite. And as they say, that's why we play the games.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's anything can happen in the Super Bowl, just like anything can happen in the
yeah.
any championship, really. Well, those are good.
Thank you.
I these random thoughts. If I wrote down
You
every
know what?
random thought,
They've been more fun than I ever thought they would
yeah,
be.
it is fun to say. Okay,
And
what's
and,
going
and
through
the
my
fact I
mind?
can come up with five of them, once a week. You're doing it once a week. I'm doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I bought that little device that helps me that I can use. That if I started
Oh,
getting
mine
random
mine
thoughts,
are
I
all
just
coming
say
from
it.
the heart. I
Well,
see.
no,
Okay.
it's not. It comes from my device. My device captures it when I say it. Speaking
Oh,
of
I see. Yeah, yeah.
contentious things, Sonia and I'm telling you, it's all her fault. But I mean, there are things we know we're going to go into that have the ability, the likelihood to just
Cause a
want to,
fight.
yeah. And man, Sammy, are you listening? One thing you ought to learn right now is to recognize those situations and just say, I'm going to be the calm one here, and I'm going to be kind.
And defer.
Yeah, and defer. Just that old happy. What is that? Happy wife, happy life. Yeah. So
Hmm.
because you can see it coming, whether it's
Yeah.
even I don't know when Sonya drives, which is rare. We were talking about that the other day. I think I saw a woman driving a guy around. I'm thinking, why do I see more and more women driving guys around, husbands around? I'm like, what? That's not the way it works.
No, that's how it works in my family.
She drives you around.
95% of the time. But you know what? I'm a great passenger.
Yeah, well, that yeah, but I'm what we were talking about the other night that Sonia's maybe driven in our 7 years, almost 7 years of marriage, once or twice, and we almost died in one of those because she pulled out in front of somebody. Uh, but we know that that's going to be rather contentious if she were to be driving all the time. So
Happy
yeah,
spouse, happy house. I like
yeah,
that
there you
version, Isaac.
go.
Yeah,
That's right. Amen to that.
yeah.
All right, I want to read something to you guys. 800,000 non-citizens could be voting, and I'll tell you where in a minute, in elections of this city this year. Let me read it again. 800,000 non-citizens could be voting in this city's elections this year.
How hard is it to pick that city,
Yeah,
people?
pick that city.
I had it right away.
New York City. So New
The
York's
city's so nice, they named it
so
twice. We
here's
don't
the
hear that
deal.
anymore.
Son, yeah. Yeah, right. Son was trying, yeah. I wouldn't even I was dying and she was trying to pull out in front of somebody at like whatever time that was, in the 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, something like that. But New York's top court will consider a city law allowing non-citizens to register to vote in New York City's elections this week. If successful, the over 800,000 non-citizens living in the Big Apple would be able to cast ballots in city-level contests like mayor, and others. And it's possible that this is going to be passed. Here's what um, the attorneys for the city, which the city is wanting it to happen. It looks like these New Yorkers pay billions in taxes and yet have no say in local policies on public safety, garbage collection, or housing, all matters that affect their day-to-day life. You know what? If you're a non-citizen, I guess you pay taxes because of where you work,
Well,
property taxes,
well,
that sort of
if you're a
thing.
non-citizen, you probably don't pay property taxes. You
Well,
certainly,
some maybe in some form or fashion, if you're paying a
yeah. The
rent.
the main one you pay is sales tax because that's the most universal. That
Yeah.
that is the fairest tax, really.
Well, so the question for me is, why are you a non-citizen? Become a citizen. I know it's just not, you don't go down to the local office and become a
Doesn't happen
citizen
right
five
away, but
seconds
yeah,
later, but become a citizen. I mean, if I moved to Canada, God forbid, or if we
not the worst
moved,
place to go.
well, no, I know, yeah, that's true. But if we moved to Spain and we knew
Not
we
the
were going to
worst
be
place
there the
to go.
balance of our life, we would try to become citizens. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I would want. But in this case, uh, the a Staten Island Republican says it's hard to discuss because it's crazy. It's even an issue. If you're not a citizen of a country, you should not have a say. New York State's Constitution says every citizen shall be entitled to vote at every election. Let me read that again. Every citizen shall be entitled to vote at every election for all officers elected by the people and upon all questions submitted to the vote of the people.
every
It doesn't,
citizen.
yeah, it doesn't say every person. It says
Right,
every citizen.
right.
An appellate court sided with Republicans on the issue last year in a 3-1 ruling. The panel of judges found an irrefutable inference applies that non citizens were intended to be excluded from those entitled to vote. Obviously. And a couple of things I want to tell you. Furious residents expressed their anger. Oh, this is about the illegal immigration, which would be, I guess you could say, rewarding illegal immigrants with the honor and the privilege to vote. Furious residents expressed their anger Monday, this is yesterday, after learning that they were powerless to stop a massive 2,200 male-only migrant shelter from opening in their neighborhood, raising concerns that the new facility will make their community less safe. Imagine on a scale, but imagine if we had a facility in Waxahachie that was opening for illegal immigrants, male only, 200 people, 200 of them here in Waxahachie. We would go as crazy as these people are. The mayor's office told Fox News Digital last month that despite the new shelter being opened, they are planning to close 46 migrant shelters across the city and reduce the total shelter bed by 10,000 by June. So the reason we talk about stuff like this is because while it isn't happening in Waxahachie, these sorts of things creep ever closer to our community. It was probably 8 or 9 years ago when we had Lakeview out on 66 that was home to, I don't know how many, 3 busloads of child immigrants that were there for 3 weeks, and the community went crazy, thinking there was going to be all this trouble. I mean, the mayor taking a hard stand, the late Paul Perry taking a hard stand uh, about that. So, uh, just as soon as we don't believe that these things will happen in our community or in Texas, even, lo and behold, it happens. And one of the purposes of the sun is to make sure that we deepen and widen the moat around Waxahachie so that it doesn't happen.
I think there's a simple reason why it's happened in New York and any other place that is doing anything similar. You know, the Democrats have, uh, in the years that they have been in power, both at all levels, state,
Yeah,
Congress, presidency,
right.
um, throwing money at special interests, throwing money at people has been a way to essentially buy votes. You know, not only do they like us, they'll actually turn around and vote.
Hmm.
Okay, so now this is an extension of that because you know they lost a lot of that base this year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And so now we'll just buy new people,
Yeah, that's the whole theory behind open borders is that
right?
we're allowing people that we want to vote for us, and now that that's about to implode, has already
Right.
started imploding. That ship has sailed. But I bring it up because again, whether it be transgender issues, Black Lives Matter, uh, I don't the KKK, any group that wants to do damage, the idea here is to keep them out of Waxahachie. And we certainly cannot, in any place in America, have non-citizens voting. I don't care how long they've been here, how admirable they are. The minute we say that it's okay for non-citizens to vote, we've opened up a similar floodgate as open borders. We just anything goes, and we can't be that country. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. 800,000 people. That's a lot of
That
people
is that
that
is
that are non-citizens that could be voting in New York's elections. We'll follow this through and let you know what happens, but it's a bit insane. All right, it is now time for poet extraordinaire rhyme time. What you
prime
got
time.
for us today?
I've got I've often said that I've got 74 poems about 74 different things, except four of them are about hockey. Well, you're gonna get four of them in the next four
4 days,
broadcasts.
yeah, four
But
days, yeah.
I do wanna brag a little bit about um, the Mercy Academy, where I'm now teaching on Fridays. I got two small classes. I mean, you talk about class size. I got three from grades 3 through 5, and I got three from grades 6 through 8. In that first week, it was kind of a feeling out process, and I asked them all, what made you? So it's an elective class that they've chosen for that Friday.
Hmm.
What made you? And the Mercy Academy on Fridays also allows homeschooled children to come to the elective classes that they have that day.
Yeah,
So, how'd you guys pick this poetry class? I go, pick it. Our parents told us we were going to go to this.
yeah.
I'm going, okay. So, it was. I thought the first week was a little bit of a trying week for all of us. There was no Discord or anything, but they're going like,
Are they not
well,
engaged?
what's with the big guy with
Yeah.
the rhyming exercises and all this stuff? But they came around and we produced. I say we. They were able to write a couple of simple little poems at the end of class, and so last week was a better week in every regard, and their enthusiasm was growing, and so
Cool.
this kid in fourth grade, he's working off the poem starter. If I were a,
Yeah.
and he comes, and I read this. I can't believe what I'm reading. If I were a quarter asleep on the ground, I'm almost certain that I would be found.
Yeah, he would
A
be
quarter asleep on the ground. I mean, that's poetry, baby. That is poetry in motion.
poetry. How old was he?
He's in fourth grade,
Yeah.
whatever that comes to. I
What?
don't know.
What? Fourth grade?
Okay.
Probably third. Fourth grade. Yeah. 10. Yeah.
Okay, so we fast forward backwards to 2020. I was thinking about this
Fast
drive.
forward backwards.
You like that
Yeah.
one?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like 5 years
That's
ago
fast.
from COVID. I,
Yeah.
I, I can't believe it's
Yeah,
been that long.
it's fast. It
It's
really
fast.
is fast. Yep.
And at that time, hockey was split into the bubbles, as
Yeah.
was
As was the NBA.
hoops was in Florida,
Remember
and
that? Isn't that
yeah.
the year that in that COVID when Lakers won? Yeah. Yep.
So
All right,
this
lay it
this
on
is
us.
August 24th, and we've well, we'll just go with it. So we started with 24. Seems like a lot of trouble in a bubble. Now we're down to 8, and we know who can really skate. No neck, no neck Barry Trotz. His old Capitals again lost. He helped them win the cup. Then they couldn't pay him a fair buck, so he said, "I'm gone. My time is up." Now he leads the Isles, and of course they're all smiles. Best they've looked in a while. I think they can handle Philly. Please don't make me look silly. The Stars have a bishop. He's called Big Ben. Now he's unfit to play, so it's Dobie's day. Remember Dobie? Oh my gosh. Now they take on the Avs, as explosive as the once great Habs. Nate McKinnon is the real deal. If the Stars make it, it's a steal. In Edmonton, games start late. Got to wait, got to wait up to learn the fate. So I take a little nap, not on the couch, but in the sack. Then I make a hot cup of joe, and I'm ready to go. Now in the East, Boston is the beast. I don't like Tampa Bay. Something about the way they play. I'm glad to say, looks like they've had their day. Tuca bowed out because of Rona. Now Havlet goes Alona. Don't forget the Golden Knights. They've got a ton of fight. They've got a goalie with a hyphen, and they score very often. You can tell who I like, but no predictions here. Just glad I get to watch some hockey this year. And the goalie with a hyphen is the great Marc Andre Fleury. We were talking about
My
him. He was your
favorite hockey player.
favorite hockey player.
Yeah.
And all the hyphenated names you think of are always last names. But this is Mark, Marc hyphen Andre, hyphenated
Yeah,
first
that's
name.
interesting. You know, we need to have a segment, and we will. We need to have a segment on best sports names out there
Oh,
because
that's
there
a
are
good
some
segment.
great
That's
names.
good. Say
Ha ha, Clinton Dix, which we'll have that on the list. But now that we've said it, you'll know it. But there
Lloyd,
are lots of
Lloyd, World B.
yeah,
Free.
yeah. There's other ones. So we'll have a segment on that. Was a great poem, and I do. Hockey's a great sport, and if you got to know the rules, otherwise you're totally lost. And any sport you don't know the rules to is going to be a drag. So you want to learn the rules. All right, it's time for our day in
A
history,
day in history.
February the 11th.
February the 11th, and I found a fun one in the Sunday paper. Um, I didn't clip it up. I'm gonna paraphrase this. And I'm not gonna make you guess the year, but I just I really forget that this actually happened in history.
Okay.
1736 ended the 7 Year War, and that was between Britain and France,
Mm,
and it ended with France ceding its territory to Britain. At one time, back in those colonial expansionist days, we
mm-hmm.
always think of Britain being the big one,
Yeah.
but French had their
Yeah.
share, and
Yeah.
and they had their stake in Canada. And can you imagine Britain and France fighting all the way across the ocean in North
Yeah. I
America
wonder how they.
over territory?
Yeah.
And
That would be crazy
that was crazy,
back
wasn't
then.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here
Let's
we
go.
go. Back to today's world. Today in history, U.S. President Franklin. Hey, by the way, try to think you had a clue to this one last week because we had
Okay.
the start of this.
All right.
U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Soviet leader Joseph
Lennon.
Stalin
Stalin.
signed
Okay.
the at a bonus
Something treaty.
Yalta Agreement, in which Stalin agreed to declare war against Imperial Japan following Nazi Germany's capitulation.
1932.
This happened during World War II.
Oh, I didn't hear
1945.
you say that. Huh? 19 what?
1945.
Oh, missed it by that much. All right.
I missed this
I
one.
wasn't listening very well.
Margaret Thatcher was elected leader of Britain's opposition Conservative Party.
Wait. Hang on. 82.
75.
Wow, Sam.
I was thinking that was achieving a lot in the days when women weren't getting jobs
Yeah,
like that.
no doubt. For sure.
South African anti apartheid activist Nelson Mandela was freed after 27 years in prison. Mandela would be elected president of South Africa 4 years later. And also happening this same year, completely separate, in one of the biggest upsets in sports history, 42-1 underdog Buster Douglas knocked out the previously undefeated heavyweight champion Mike Tyson
Tyson.
at Japan's Tokyo Dome. So both
That,
of those things were happening.
yeah. No. 1990.
Boom, boom, the bonus is
I
in
would
effect.
remember that.
And you see the double checks for me also.
Yes, I remember that. Watching that fight. That was a good fight.
Egyptian President Hosni, Hosni
Mm.
Mubarak
Yes.
resigned in the wake of pro democracy protests ending 3 decades of authoritarian rule. Egypt President
Mm.
Hosni Mubarak.
2003.
2011. You're 8 years off. You did not get
Wow.
it.
That gummit. All right.
Singing superstar Whitney Houston was found dead in a hotel room bathtub in Beverly Hills, California on the eve of the Grammy Awards. She was 48 years old.
Yeah, it's sad. 2015. 15.
12.
I knew that. Should have thought that. Yeah, in a
Yeah.
bathtub.
Yeah. And do you think, what about the timing of that being the night before the Grammys? Did she
Yeah.
think she wasn't going to win? Or, I mean,
Who knows? Maybe the
she
pressure
had
of
won
performing.
Grammys, hadn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, who knows?
And that Bodyguard movie was about her, right?
Yes, Kevin Costner and her. He was the
After she
bodyguard.
after she died
I don't know if it was
or,
after or
or
before. Well, no,
before.
it had to be before.
I
She was
don't.
in it.
Okay. I don't. I don't remember it very well. I watched
I mean,
my wife and I watched Marley and Me yesterday. That is a sad movie, and
about a dog, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
with
haven't seen that.
Luke Owen Wilson and a young Jennifer Aniston,
Yeah,
and
I don't.
I know I'd watched that, and I swear I could not remember anything about the movie.
Anything about a dog, Sonny and I gonna be able to do it. We can't even see Maggie in
Have
a
you
picture.
have you not watched that movie or
No,
not?
I haven't. Sonya might have, but I
Oh yeah,
haven't.
no, you need to.
Okay,
You
well,
need to. A little romance in it too.
oh, well,
Good
use a little
romance. Good,
romance. All right.
tasteful. During a routine morning meeting of Vatican cardinals, Pope Benedict. Sam, let's test you on your uh, Roman numerals. XVI
16.
60. You were close. That'd be XVII.
I hate Roman numerals. Just say 17 or 16.
Pope Benedict the 16th announced he would resign as Pope effective February 28th. It was the first papal resignation in nearly 600 years.
Is this our last one?
It's our last one.
2018.
21, 18, 23.
Oh, we both got that one. So I was at a 4-3 today.
I took down a 6-1.
Oh, you did good. Yeah. Uh, love doing this segment and learned so much.
Yeah.
But the Roman numerals thing is becoming an issue for me. We need to work on that.
Why is it?
Sonia says the Bodyguard movie was in the 90s, so
Okay.
she was alive.
So
Not to mention that she was
what's
in it.
let's remember, other than old clocks and Super Bowls,
Yeah.
we don't use and popes. Where else do we use them? I mean, you don't have to. It's
It's
not
in
an issue
crossword
because
puzzles.
it's
It's in crossword puzzles
well,
sometimes. Like, who needs that? It'll give you a number like 1604 and then expect you to answer the crossword puzzle with the letters. I'm like, stop. I don't like it. Anyway, so there you go. I think that is it for today. I do have a meme, but I'm gonna tell the meme first, and then I'm gonna close out with just a couple of comments about something. So the meme, Sammy, you got it. All right. So obviously you can see that's Elon Musk. Let me get this straight. You are mad at the guy who found all the fraud and theft, but not at the people who wasted and stole that money. Idiots. And idiots is right. And you know what? My column in the Sun
read that
tomorrow.
again slowly so it
Let
sinks
me
into
get this
people.
straight. You are mad at the guy who is finding all the fraud and theft, but not at the people who wasted and stole that money. Idiots. And so
It's deep.
that that's in my column about it to the brazen I can't remember the exact title of my column, but it's about this. And
Mhm.
it's about what are we doing here? I mean, we are angry at Elon Musk and his Doge team for finding some of it's criminal, I'm telling you, but at worst, at best, it's corrupt and unethical and wrong, and we're mad at him for discovering it. And in my column, I give reasons for why that anger exists, but no matter why it exists, it's unacceptable. And to be coming after him and that this group of young men and women who are working with him on a volunteer basis to find all this is absurd. And frankly, it has made me, as a publisher of a newspaper and as someone who writes a column and does a podcast, I'm beginning to throw away the shackles that I put on myself about being overtly angry with the left in this country. I don't like them. I don't like, it's not them, it's the movement. I don't like it. But I'm becoming angry with people who some of these senators and Congress people who are holding press conferences and screaming and yelling and all this nonsense histrionics about people who are doing what America really desperately needs to be done, and that is to find this corruption. Jeff and I were talking about a report this morning. We'll be talking about it more later. But FEMA just fired 4 people, one of which was the chief financial officer of FEMA, was fired along with 3 other people for just last week in the face of what Elon Musk and Doge is doing, awarded $59 million to hotels in New York City to house illegal immigrants. That includes lodging, that includes the services they get, it includes whatever else it takes
Food.
to do that, food. Yeah. So we've got people who are to Elon Musk are saying, up yours, we're still going to do it. Now they're getting fired. They ought to be charged with something, but $59 million. We've got North Carolina people still living on the land. We got vets that are killing themselves every day in this country, don't have a home, are mentally struggling, and we're spending $59 million on illegal immigrants. Now, in in addition to all the other stuff that's being found. So I'm here to say that for those of you watching, uh, it's time we say enough's enough. I don't care if it's my neighbor who's complaining about Doge or if it's somebody else out there that's complaining about. Enough is enough. It's not about what Doge is. It's not about being angry. It can't be. We can't be angry at the people who are finding what needs to be found. And shame on those who are standing up and defending the wasteful spending. They need to be voted out of office. So
Well, that's
um,
their problem. And
we
so
won't remember that.
they've been voted out of office, and so they're trying to remain visible,
Some of them,
so that they're not just forgotten.
some of them, but Elizabeth Warren's on the pardon the pun on the warpath for this, and Cory Booker and others who are after Elon Musk. We should be after Warren and Cory Booker. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for being with us. We will be back Thursday at noon. We'll have my microphone fixed by then, and we'll have all new topics to talk about. Of course, if you ever want to reach out and share something with us, you can reach us at scott@walksatyoursun.com, jeff@walksatyoursun.com. But Grit and Good News will be back in 2 days at noon on Thursday. Jeff will be decked out in his new hockey uniform.
USA.
With that, Jeffrey, take us away.
Let's always remember: don't write a check you can't cash